Welcome to our channel Echoes of the Dark, where we tell you real-life stories that don't just entertain you, they open your eyes. Imagine stumbling across a pile of gold so massive it could change your life forever. I mean, we're talking glittering coins, weapons inlaid with silver, jewelry fit for kings. You reach out, fingers trembling, heart pounding, and the moment you touch it, you've already signed your death sentence. That's not just some ghost story your grandpa told you by the fire. This was real. A Viking curse so terrifying, it was said to wipe out everyone who laid a hand on this treasure. And tonight, I'm pulling you straight into that nightmare. Picture this. The year is somewhere in the late 900s. The Viking age is in full swing. These aren't just rowdy seafarers. They're warriors, raiders, conquerors. They believed deeply in gods, omens, and curses, things that could outlast even death. And one Viking in particular, a warlord whose name's been half lost to history, went to his grave with more gold and silver than most villages had ever seen. But before he died, he swore that anyone who dared steal from him would feel the weight of his vengeance, even from the afterlife. That's where the curse begins. Now, fast forward centuries later, archaeologists and treasure hunters get word about a hidden hoard buried deep in a Scandinavian forest. Imagine how their hearts must have raced. We could be rich. We could uncover history. But what they didn't realize was that this was the very stash tied to that Viking's curse. And here's where things start to get creepy. The first guy who supposedly touched one of the coins dropped dead from what doctors back then called a mystery illness. No explanation. Perfectly fine one day, gone the next. The second person, a local farmer who was rumored to have found part of the treasure while plowing his land, drowned in his own well just days after showing people a shiny arm ring he'd dug up. Coincidence? Maybe. But when the deaths kept stacking up, people in the village whispered, "A Viking still guards his gold." And honestly, imagine being there, hearing those stories. You wouldn't even want to walk near that forest, let alone dig in it. But human curiosity, it's relentless. It's relentless. The more people died, the more others wanted to see if the curse was real. That's the wild part. It's like the treasure itself was baiting people in. Now, think about this. Vikings believed that their spirits could cling to objects, especially weapons or gold they poured their soul into. So if this warlord actually bound his rage, his essence, to that hoard, touching it wouldn't just be like stealing from a grave. It would be like waking him up. And once he's awake, he's not letting go. That's the part that gave me chills when I first read about this story. Like, you're not just stealing gold, you're inviting a warrior from another world to follow you home. There are tales of explorers in the 19th century who tried to cart the treasure away. Whole expeditions ended in disaster. Wagons overturned, storms rolled in out of nowhere, people vanished without a trace. One journal from that time described a sound like a war horn blowing in the wind every time they camped near the treasure site. Tell me that wouldn't have you packing your bags and running for your life. And yet, the treasure still exists. That's the kicker. Pieces of it made their way into museums, private collections, and some even disappeared before anyone could track them down. Every now and then you'll hear rumors about someone falling sick or suffering bizarre accidents after handling certain Viking artifacts. Coincidence, curse, or maybe just our minds playing tricks. Who knows? But when so many stories line up the same way, you start to wonder. Let's be real, people love to chase riches. But with this story, there's this uncomfortable truth. What if some treasure just isn't meant to be claimed? What if the price tag isn't money? It's your life. Think about how insane that is. You see glittering gold, you touch it, and boom, you've got a death sentence stamped on your forehead. It's like the ultimate temptation, a trap set centuries ago by a man too angry to rest. And I can't lay stories like this always make me think about us today. We scroll past videos about haunted objects or cursed treasures and laugh them off. But picture yourself standing in front of that Viking hoard. No cameras, no crowd, no internet. Just you and the treasure glinting in the dark. Would you reach out? Would you risk everything for a handful of coins that a warlord literally cursed with his dying breath? Be honest with yourself, 'cause that's the question that really haunts me. And here's where it gets personal. When I was a kid, I remember my uncle telling me stories about cursed objects, how some things carry energy. I used to laugh, thinking it was just superstition. But when you hear about grown men, soldiers, explorers, even scientists dropping like flies after touching this treasure, suddenly those old stories don't sound so funny. They sound like warnings. Now, I'm not saying you should believe every single curse story out there. But here's the deal. Cultures all around the world, from Vikings to Egyptians to native tribes, all left warnings about messing with the dead and their belongings. And you know what? Over and over again, people ignored those warnings. And over again, they paid the price. If that doesn't make you think twice, I don't know what will. So next time you're scrolling late at night and you stumble on someone showing off an ancient artifact they bought online or dug out of the dirt, ask yourself, what if that thing carries something with it? What if some warrior, priest or king is still holding on to it, waiting for the next fool to lay a finger on it? That's not just history, that's horror dressed in gold. If you're still watching right now, here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment and tell me, would you take the treasure? Honestly. Would you risk the curse for a shot at wealth beyond your imagination? Or would you walk away, leave it buried, and sleep peacefully knowing you didn't just tick off a 1,000-year-old Viking? I want to know where you stand, because stories like this only matter if we ask ourselves those questions. And hey, if this story gave you chills, if you're feeling that little tingle down your spine right now, then stick around. Hit that subscribe button, because I've got even darker stories coming your way, tales of cursed objects, haunted places, and the secrets history tried to bury. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Remember, treasure can shine brighter than anything you've ever seen, but sometimes it shines because it's warning you. Stay away.